In my previous video, I installed a Kickstart switcher into the 1000 here, and towards the end of the video I mentioned that I was having an occasional problem with when I would switch from one ROM to the other, I would get a red screen, and typically it was when I would switch to the 2.0 ROM, and I noticed that it seemed to be more prevalent when it would warm up, and it was doing it more often. So I decided to take a look at my cuts that I did on the board, and I noticed underneath the jumper 2, I looked under a magnifying glass and there was a chunk of flux in there, like a little piece that came out of the solder. It didn't get cleaned off, and so I measured it with the meter, and I was getting about 1.3 megs. So I cleaned it out a little bit, and scraped the, make sure I had a good cut, and then I was getting about 7 megs. So I thought, well, cool. So I plugged it back in, and I would still get the red screen occasionally, but it wouldn't stay there. It would be red for a few seconds, and then it would either go through and continue booting, like if I had something in the floppy, or it would just go to the Kickstart screen like it is now. So I was kind of fine with that. It didn't really, as long as the thing continued on it, I was pretty much good with it. And then I installed everything back in the case, and I hooked my ground mod back up that I have on the daughter board, and I've been sitting here for a while, and I've just been switching back and forth trying to get it to mess up, and I can't get it to. So the issue seemed to be, it was either a combination of, I had a little bit of a high resistance bridge there, and it was just causing it to flake out, and the combination of the ground, I've probably switched it back and forth 40 times here without any issues. So if anybody does this and gets the red screen, check your cuts and potentially do the ground mod if you need to. One more thing that I just noticed as I was putting this thing back together, I was trying to kind of get it all buttoned up to a point. The floppy bracket is still not going to fit with that switcher in place, and I thought it might have been because I had to add the pin strips in there to rise it up to clear that R107, but those are only about 5 millimeters tall, and it's every bit of 10 millimeters or more that I need to get this thing to fit. So unfortunately the floppy drive's not going to fit.